Okay.
Did you have examples of people growing up that was entrepreneurs that you learned from?
My mom always had something going to this day. She always has. She was at the time, the reason we had to color printers because she had I want to say it was a manual travel company.
Okay.
It was for the church people. She was going to set y'all
Gotcha.
up.
Okay.
Manual.
Yeah, get y'all.
That's
Yeah,
his nickname.
Yeah.
Or one of his names.
Yeah.
She was writing her own books. She self-published books. When I was getting, she's legally blind. Shout out Donna Goodall. She legally blind and still had always a business going.
Like she been legally blind.
Blind.
Gotcha.
For shoes since I was like maybe 8 or 9.
Oh, okay.
She can see, but barely.
Yeah.
But she never like stopped. She always had something going, and my dad always worked, right? And she always was hustling. So he was in the military. So I think both of them gave me examples. Like the military will teach you discipline, consistency. You're going to get up, no matter what you did last night, you're going to be at PT at 6 o'clock in the morning. You're going to be at work at 9.
Yep.
You're going to be there Monday through Friday.
Yep.
Come hell or high water, you're going to do it. And so I'm seeing my dad do that. And then my mom is like, all right. And she it wasn't like fly-by-night business. She was like running, because military spouses have hard times getting jobs because every 3 years they're moving along. So she basically, spin up a business or something at each duty station. So I think I saw both of them do that type of stuff. And I think the creativity part I got from my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She used to write plays when we were kids.
Nice.
So I would write like sketches with my brother and stuff, perform them in church. And my dad is just consistent.
Yeah.
Always. So now, like with social media, as like core, anchor business, one thing that really separates me from most creators is I'm going to have that video up.
Yeah,
for the most part, you come to my page, on one of my pages, for like the last 10 years, it's probably not been one day where I didn't post at least one video on something.
Yeah.
And I still take vacation and stuff, but if I go on vacation, I
prep
or pull some stuff down,
Yeah.
re-upload some stuff. But people, go through blocks and all that stuff, and I do too, but I find a way to just, my thing is like, I liken myself to like the daily comic strip. I used to read the comics on the newspaper, and you used to get the paper every day. And every day I'd turn the comics and read my favorite ones. And some days they'd be hilarious, some days they'd be okay, some days they'd be bad, but they were always there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, when you wake up, if you want to see something funny, you type in at KevOnStage and go and see, and it's going to be something. If I ain't got nothing funny today, then I'm going to post somebody else funny and tag them. But you will get something funny on my page. So
get funny.
I think that's probably my greatest thing is the consistency. And that's a skill I learned from them, and that's probably one of the biggest separators.
Yeah, that's definitely a...
That's tough because we did the same. That's how we grew.
Yeah, that's exactly how we grew. It's definitely tough. Because I feel like you hit your stride in that particular. Not that you wasn't posting before, but like your real stride. I feel like 2018, 19 when I felt like when I seen you like really like you was uploading up. I was like, this man is rolling right now. I said, I don't know what bill he got to pay. But
they came back for that age.
They came from that age.
Like, hey, you scared me. We want that back.
I never sold that. It died in the business plan phase.
Yeah, but it was almost like you had kicked into another gear. But also, it could just be. This is a little bit deeper than it need to be, but I know you said you're a mom legally blind, but you don't have to see in order to have vision, which is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I feel like she gave that to you as well.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, being in the church and having the faith, we all understand that God is the vision. We can get through that. So it's just
I don't want you to forget your question.
Yeah.
If I went back.
So I'm going back now. So the certain habits that you have now, what's like one or two things that like every day is something like, some people have their routine and stuff like that. What's something that's keeping you grounded and level and in your business today?
That helps me create or just helps
helps you create, that's fine, and then we can just what just helps you.
I mean, one thing I found, I exercise usually 4 or 5 times a week, and I found that if I usually hike like it's not really a hike, but it's a walk around my neighborhood, but it goes steep, so it feels like a hike. 5 miles, if I can do the whole thing, about an hour and a half. And if I found out if I just do that and listen like to music, ideas will populate. If I watch TV, like sometimes I just download shows or whatever, but just not thinking about creating sometimes just help. Because I had been, nobody knows this, Boss Talk Original, me and Tony are working on a independent film, Tony Baker. And I had been like thinking about it on purpose.
Yeah.
And like, I would get nothing.
Yep.
I was just like, think of this idea, Kev. How are we gonna start this? Even if it could be worse, like I need something to get a note card on the wall.
Yeah.
Even I end up scrapping it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I forget. I can't think of it for like the last couple of weeks. So today I just went on a walk, listened to music, and it was like plot point, plot point. And I was like, you know, so sometimes I've heard, you know, this old story. I feel like I said this before last time, but I don't know if I did. I think it was a famous painter. I can't remember which one it was. And he was painting, and somebody came in and was like, I don't bother you. I didn't know you're working. He's like, oh, I'm not working. I'm painting. And another time he was resting. Yeah. And somebody was like, oh, can I talk to you? He was like, no, I'm working.
That's real.
Yeah, he was like, in order to create, I have to clear my mind.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's just chilling or working out or whatever. And that's why a lot of times a lot of good ideas come in the shower.
Absolutely.
Because you ain't really, you just.
Yeah, you naked.
You naked.
You stripped.
The water, you stripped. You're just at peace.
Yeah.
And then ideas populate all the time. So
I think it's about something being stuck in one thing that just, like me on the plane now, I can just come up with ideas.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. It's weird.
That little noise. It just puts you in the zone.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. And it's funny because I'm reading a book called Happy, Sexy Millionaire. And in the book, he talks about how the moment people are always in this like search for happiness. He said, but it's an oxymoron because the minute you stop searching, you find it.
Yeah.
Because it is where you are.
Yes.
And I feel like that's the same thing with ideas.
Yeah. Peace be the journey.
It's like you be thinking about stuff for weeks and you be like, what is going on? And you be like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna go to a bookstore and have some coffee today. And then everything starts downloading. Yeah. Because our minds are always, I think we're so, especially us, brains are everywhere.
Absolutely. And then like work-wise, for the most part, every day I go on Twitter and I just see what is the topic of the day.
Yeah. That's our news.
The news, I pull podcast, like I see on y'all wall, you got podcast topics. I see some that we cover.
Yeah.
I pull a couple of those out, put them in a notepad, go on TikTok, look for something to make. So I usually like, before I go to take my son to school, I like to know what video I'm going to make.
Gotcha.
For the day. I have the benefit and the blessing of like low production value, so it doesn't take me more than 5 minutes usually to do something. And once that's out of the way, I fed the machine, my comic is up, and then I can go about my day.
Gotcha.
Unless I have like a shoot or something like that. Yeah. But for the most part, that's pretty much every day. I'm always looking for something to talk about. And then I synthesize it like, is this a podcast topic? Is this a video topic? Is this both? Is
you got to compartmentalize everything.
You know what I mean? So that's probably my creative habit that I have.
I wanted to ask you about what was the catalyst for starting the studio? Was it out of necessity? Because I know it happened after ADD, or was it something you always had a vision for?
I will tell you, it's a very specific moment. I was shooting a show called Aska in my house, very similar to this. I had like a little baby studio. I mean, not as big as or as nice as this, but we had like an extra room in our house. And I was shooting Aska, and I would, one of the things I learned from ADD is how to get 6 videos in a day. You shoot this person at 9, 10:30, 12, lunch, 2, 4:30, 6, whatever it is. So I was shooting a day like that, and the guest at like 2 o'clock was supposed to leave. Usually people just leave when they're done. Yeah. Because they have something else to do. He ain't leave. And he was a white dude. Sitting on he had brought somebody with him, sitting on my couch in the living room with their shoes off, like this, kind of how like
folded,
but with their shoes off, they have socks on, on the couch. And my son came out and he was like he just made a face, like, what is he doing? And my wife and I, after that, she was like, we probably should not have people just in our home.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that. Like now that because you had a lot of different people come through.
Yeah.
Unless we got the kids, you know what I'm saying, living here. And these weren't people we didn't trust, but it was just kind of like wild.
Yeah.
So the first office that we had was just so we didn't have that. It was right up the street, less than 5 minutes from here. It was like $1,000. And we were just like, oh my God, are you sure we can do this? 1,000, and then so we had like sets there, couches and stuff, mics and all this stuff, but it looked like a living room. And then in the back we had merch because I was on tour. My brother-in-law Greg, he was a tour manager, so merch for me. So when we'd fly out, either the night before or early in the morning, the day of, he'd go there, fill up the duffel bags with merch, take them so we can fly out. So we had a lot of homeless people trying to get into that office, try to just in that office complex.
Yeah.
So they had saw him coming back and forth 5 a.m. So they're like, oh, he lives here because y'all have couches. Mind you, I told them when we came, we shoot content here. That's why there's a couch, but there's also a camera.
There's a camera,
set up.
Yeah.
You see the equipment, you see the computer, you see the wires.
Yeah.
They thought he was
squatting
there, living there. I'm like, You see him come and go. They're like, we have it on camera. We knew they were lying. They had just seen it.
Yeah.
Like, if you see him on camera, if you have it on camera, then within 30 minutes, he's gone.
He's gone, yeah.
And he comes with empty bags, and he leaves with full bags. There wasn't no camera. They just thought they saw him.
Yeah.
So they didn't renew our lease. So then we got the new, the podcast place. I don't know if you've been there. Y'all been there. That's where we shoot Here's the Thing at.
Yeah.
But the soundstage, the KevOnStage Studios one, our business partners for the app had their own building in Burbank where you did Keep Your Distance.
Gotcha.
And their lease was up, and they only had enough space to shoot basically one thing. So they shot a podcast, and they wanted to shoot a sketch. They have to tear down the podcast, put the sketch. So it would take like hours.
Yeah,
and we're like, if we had more space, we could be more efficient. We could just shoot podcasts here and never have to break down. Then we could use this for this. So that's why we got the soundstage. By the grace of God, and because of the pandemic, like 8 of the 14 businesses over there went out of business. So we got like a crazy deal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
5 because they were like, please, because they're just trying to get anything.
Yeah.
So and legally you can only raise the rent so much per year. So that worked out well. But yeah, it was all about efficiency. It was always like, if we had more space, we could do this.
Yeah.
If we had this, we could do this. It was never like, like the first office was just to keep peace in my home.
Yeah.
Second, they pushed us into the second one, but then it was like, oh, we have a podcast here and a podcast here. And then like when you have a little bit more, then you have your creativity fills in that spot. You're like, well, dang, if I have a podcast set up, if I want to do this, now I could just sit over here and set that up. So there's at our podcast place, there's like 1, 2, 3 standard sets basically, and a fourth if you really wanted it.
Yeah, I don't think I've been to the
no. Hardly anybody ever goes there.
Yeah.
No. We had the game night.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay,
there.
Gotcha.
And now the soundstage, we have 2 podcast rooms that are always set up and ready to go, and then 2 spaces, green screen, small stage, and then the big studio. So it was all about efficiency. Like if we had our own space, we didn't have to rent either.
Yeah.
You could do more because it's like 1,000 to 3,000 depending on what you need every day.
Yeah.
But we could use it, and if we're not using it, we can rent it to people.
Gotcha.
So that was another benefit. It was like,
so
people don't be having their own space.
Who manages all the?
Force you out of something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who do you? So you have, how many people? How many people would you say is on your team?
So there's it's basically separated. There's the KevOnStage Studios company.
Yeah.
That has its own team.
Gotcha.
And then like me and Melissa's company has another team.
Gotcha.
So like
Okay.
Greg, who produces podcasts, for me, tour manager, and Josh, they are for like me and Melissa's company.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
They they work on everything.
Yeah.
And then the app has its own employees.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Creative director, producer, post, 2 editors, then 2 basically do it all.
Yeah.
Like Cam can record, podcast, shoot, they have, so that's about 7-8 employees.
Gotcha.
And then Brendan and Tony, they are the business partners. They have their own company.
Gotcha.
And they have another employee or two.
Okay.
I think we have an intern at this time. So some of those people work on both.
Gotcha. Okay.
Greg builds sets for the app, but he mostly works for my company. And then like one of the other people, he manages like the organization of the space, like when people want to rent it. But for the most part, he works for Brendan's company. So I guess all in all, it's probably about 10 full-time employees, and the rest are the contractors, editors, things like that.